Hi there, and welcome to another episode of NPA Sounds, where we dive into the world of film, offering you a behind-the-scenes look into different parts of the international industry. We'll be here chatting with experts from around the world, exploring their career journeys, sharing valuable insights and tips, and uncovering stories that bring their work to life. This podcast is brought to you by New Producers Academy. I'm your host, Kristen Dania, a film director and producer currently based in Barcelona. Whether you're just beginning or not, or just happen to be curious about the magic behind the scenes, there will be something here for everyone. Welcome everybody. We're super excited to have today Marie Antonelle Joubert and Samer Bitar, who are joining us from France, from the Kourtrajmé School. And we're super excited to have you guys both. Marie Antonelle Joubert is the director of Kourtrajmé Marseille, which she founded with Ladjil Lee.
Yeah.
And Samer Bitar is a musician, a film sound recordist and mixer based in France, and he currently works at Kourtrajmé Marseille. And I'm really excited to have both of you guys here. So could you introduce yourselves a little bit more so we can have a little bit of a better idea of what you guys are all about?
So the name of the school is Kourtrajmé. It's a French slang that we use words reversed.
Yes.
Yeah. So court-métrage is short feature, and Kourtrajmé is like slang for for short feature, let's say. So that is a collective, an art collective created in Paris in the 90s, and the school has that name because Ladjli, who's the director of Les Misérables, was a member and is still a member of that collective. I'm not. I'm the founder of that school, and my whole day is about challenging representativity in French cinema, both on just the national productions, how they represent the society, and also from Marseille, because we're the second city in the country.
Yeah.
So for me.
Thank you. For me, I think it will be more of how I got here. I think it would be maybe more beneficial to speak about that. I joined the team. I joined. It's a dispositive, a program that exists in the school, which Marie I think will explain a little bit more afterwards. I joined this program, which is an atelier. It's a workshop that includes semi-professional, let's say, who are eligible to develop their career, and they want to, at the end of this atelier or workshop, to be recruited by actual productions that are being hosted in Marseille, notably. I started with this workshop in January, since January, and I have been developing my practices as a sound engineer, recordist and mixer, and also as a musician, because I come from this background, is the music, and this what motivates me always to be in this department. I think even that the workshop propose other dispositives and other activities which englobe other departments like the image one, the camera, image, and decor, and all the other technical parts. So this was and still a very enriching experience for me that I am learning a lot from, especially from the team who are here, the permanent team who are here for us to help us to orient somehow the project, the professional project, and how we can really crystallize it at the end of our contract or at the end of this incubation period. We just go out ready to be in the move, in the work, and in the action.
Amazing. There's so many already interesting points of conversation just from the little bio that you guys have given us. And before we get into that, let's just ask some quick questions. These are just with quick answers. Currently, what are your guys' favorite films right now, or what is a film that you've seen that is like a must see for people who are listening?
I'll let you start.
It's not a film, actually. It's a series. It's a documentary series. A short documentary series that speaks of. It tells the story of a DJ that is called DJ Mehdi. You have seen?
No, it's just he's part of the collective Kourtrajmé. He was
He was
a main figure of Kourtrajmé.
And I think it's a very interesting and very thought-provocative documentary, because it puts in light someone that was not really in the center of attention of the media, let's say, or the domain. But after he passed away, his friends, his colleagues, and the collective that they used to work with, they just went and started to do this production to tell the story of this unique person that he contributed to the industry of music all over the world and the history of pop, of other genre maybe. So it's what my eyes on for the
at the moment.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
And yourself, Marie?
I can't think of anything else than a series that I'm about to start tonight with my daughter. That's called Os Quatro da Candelaria. And I'm thinking, I don't know the name in English. It's a Brazilian series. It's about a drama that happened in Rio in the 90s, end of the 90s. That was like a very important moment in social sciences and in society in Brazil that I was taught about at university. And then I went to Brazil and I met a lot of NGOs that were working on that thing that happened, that I don't want to say, that it's the whole thing. And when I went to Rio the first time to study, I met a guy called Luis Lomenia, and now he's the director of that series on Netflix. So it's a very, it's a whole story of what we want to do. And I know I'm going to cry from A to Z, but also for what happens in the series, but also for the whole thing of how things can change and sometimes can happen. It's very inspiring.
The show you're starting the show tonight.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, I've written both of them down. Hopefully I can find some time to look into them. And following up with that, is there a specific movie character or TV series character that you like, that you would want to be?
Nothing comes to my mind.
Maybe we'll circle back at the end of the episode. Yeah,
I clearly want to meet Issa Rae, but
Issa Rae. Okay, you'd want to meet Issa.
Yeah, I want to shake her hand.
Okay. I think I would also love to shake her hand.
In terms of groupie, that's where I stand. I think Issa Rae. Yeah.
Okay. Issa Rae, amazing. And this would be the kind of the last question for this first part. Is there a department in the film industry, whether it's art department, sound, now I can't think of any other, camera department, that you would say that is your favorite outside of your own department?
I think for me, if I may, if I was not to be a sound guy, I think I would be more into writing. So
writing,
yeah, because I do also like writing. I find it as a very flexible space to express. So maybe writing something and being in the writing process would
maybe something to explore as well.
Yeah,
and Marie,
for sure.
Favorite?
I think he should. He didn't tell you his story, but I think he should. I always think that I would have been a good AD, because I'm not an artist. I don't claim to be. I don't want to be one, but I love to be in service of a functioning system. So I'd love to gather people and tell, so we need to find solutions. That's what I like. And probably casting, because I'm so frustrated at French castings. Okay. And
two very important and unspoken about departments.
Underrated department.
Yes. For sure. Well, thanks for indulging in those questions. And now let's get back to the root of this episode, to talk more about you guys and talk about the school. So Marie, I know you have you come from a background where you studied history at Sorbonne, right?
Yes.
And you also have a master in Latin American social sciences. So how do you go from that to being a director of Kourtrajmé?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I studied social sciences and I started in NGOs. I think I was lucky enough to start in NGOs and not in a. I did a little work in public institutions, but it was always to work with NGOs. I think I should say first that I have an international family and background. So I started my university already speaking different languages. So that helped me, I think, always find really cool jobs and cool internships. Even though I was just studying at the university, which doesn't lead you anywhere. I mean, it doesn't lead you in terms of having a job. I mean, it taught me to be a very good researcher, writer, whatever, and thinker. I think properly, and I can think of many different things because French university is free and amazing, but it doesn't help you be. It doesn't insert you in the job world.
Yeah.
But so because I was international already, I all the jobs or internships that I found were with NGOs, and also, so I don't know, I don't remember because I started working very early. I don't remember if I was an activist before or if this made me an activist. But what defines me now, I'm 47, and now I can say, okay, what defines me is that I'm an activist, and I'm an activist based on social sciences. I'm not an activist based on I just had a baby and I want him to be fed properly, which makes a lot of light activists. I don't know if you get my point, but like light feminists and light. No, so I'm an activist, and that's what drives me. I want to change society, and I'm. So that's what I learned in many different NGOs, and I worked in and lived in the Middle East, and then in Brazil. And in those two places, I was working in an NGO in Palestine first, and then a lot of journalists would come. And my NGO fellow workers, they were all researchers like me, but they loved research. And I didn't like research. What I liked was action and talking and convincing people. So each time a journalist would come, they would say, okay, give this person to Marie, she will handle. And so I started doing that. And at some point, one really, I think a good guy told me at the end of 3 days of work, what you do has a name. It's called a fixer, and it's very well paid. So I'm going to pay you. I just negotiated with the French radio I work for, and you should get paid for what you do. It's not a voluntary work what you do. So I discovered that worked, fixer, and I started becoming a fixer. So because in NGOs you don't make a living, right? So I started doing that, and I loved it. So I discovered the production of documentaries, and also I did some fixing for fictions. And then I moved to Brazil, and I continued being a fixer on the side of my NGO work, but I did it each time more. So that's how I became production assistant. And at the same time, I would work with Laj as an activist. He was an activist as well. He would do cop watch, and I would work on political violence and democracy issues. And so many times I called Laj and other Kourtrajmé members to make videos for me, for my NGOs. And so when Laj started a production company called Kourtrajmé Production, he called me because he knew I could do it. But both of us, we would know nothing about production, and basically everything that we started didn't succeed. But we learned everything that shouldn't be done. And that's when he decided, and also it's the same time as the riots had happened in France. And he was sometimes, because he made an amazing documentary, a self-produced documentary, he was sometimes consulted about what could change about the riots and whatever. And he would always say, we need schools to offer those kids other opportunities. And I would be interested in having a movie school. That's what Laj would always say. So all that together led to, okay, the second we have the money to make this school, we will stop what we're doing and we'll do this school. And the same year that he was editing Les Misérables, he got an opportunity where he created an opportunity by putting his foot in the door of a place where he lives. And he created the school with no money. And that was in Paris. And I had already come back to my city here in Marseille. And I said, okay, that's great. I helped just a little bit. And then the year after, I decided I also wanted to have one in Marseille. And because he was so famous, thanks to Les Misérables, we found a little bit of money to start that. So that's how this happened. So I think it's activism, and activism.
Yeah, amazing. And you know, the powers of film is also an amazing way to get messages out there to the world, to cause change as well. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight something. So the journey to get to where you are now consisted of setting things up, falling down, getting back up, setting things up again, and just trial and error, and learning from all these little mistakes along the way to have what you have now, a successful, well-known and established film school.
Yes, it was a question. Yes.
No, it was a question and just a statement at the same time.
Well, it was a lot of exploring. Is that what you mean? Yes, and we're still exploring. Yeah. And actually, now that the school has been up in Marseille more than 3 years, usually people tell you when you have a project, the 3 first years are surviving, and it's true. Yeah. Now we're beginning to collect and regroup and have some overview, some perspective. Yeah. And I can tell you 2 things. One is that, we explored, and I think we didn't explore long enough. So that's why we created schools. Because in France, and maybe it's the same in the Netherlands, that's why you have that NPA school, but in France, school is often the answer to a societal issue. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's necessarily a good idea now. I think if I had created, like the American or English way, association for the advancement of underrepresented publics in the movie industry, maybe we would be further now. Further along. Okay, and we still don't have that institution in France. But yes, so we've been exploring a lot, and each year we tried a different format for the school and workshops that we have, and each year we reinvent, and each year we have to reconvince either sponsors, private sponsors, or the institutions to fund us, which is very hard. But one thing that I think should be said is that Laj is the perfect example of why it shouldn't take so long and why it shouldn't be based on an accident in his life that made him meet someone who could lead him somewhere. That is, his fellows of the Kourtrajmé industry who were living in Paris, had a network, had film industry, family and stuff. He's the perfect example of what France loves to show. Oh, he made it, so everyone can make it. It's like a meritocracy issue that is fake and and self-destroying for people who think, oh, he made it, so I can make it. It's not. It's not. It's the opposite.
It's almost like
there's a word
false
for that.
Advertisement.
Exactly.
False hope.
Yes. It's exactly. And it's also politically, it's dangerous because they would tell you, well, he got a César, and he was the French representative at Oscar. So what more do you want? Well, we want him to not be an accident. Like we want him to be just normal. And it's really, really hard. Black actresses, they made statements and actions, very direct actions in France 5 years ago, and it still didn't change a bit. It's really the few ones that succeed with amazing, I don't know how they do, basically, amazing resilience. They're shown as examples of that. It's easy. See, they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to circle back to this a bit later about the challenges that the French market has right now. And I want to go to Samir for a question and ask you, how did you end up going into the film industry? How did you go from, musician, or was it musician first, then you came to Kourtrajmé? Sorry, my French is not very good.
Actually, maybe... To start with the story, I have been a musician since I was born, I think, because my father was a musician and my grandfather was a musician also. I have been in contact with music and sound since early age, and what brought me into the film industry, I think, meanwhile I was in Jordan, because I lived 10 years almost in Jordan. I was interested in the arts and culture. The scene in Jordan was and still evolving. It's a very
Yeah.
developing in development stages. And we were just young people who were the musicians, filmmakers, performers, who knowing that we are not very, we don't count a lot. We are just, I don't know, maybe 100 people in all Jordan, because the population is very small. And the space to do things is somehow limited. So we were always working all together. If someone is having a song, everyone is going to work to finish the song. If someone's having a visual art project, everyone is here to help them, to do the exhibition, to do the gallery, etc., to rent things. So we were always working as a collective, and we were learning by the go.
Yeah. Which is the best way to learn.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I deeply think it's one of the best experiences in my life that reflects to what I might do in the future, and how I might do things. So it started from that, and there were at the moment there were some producers, international producers and directors that were visiting Jordan for the landscape. The landscape in Jordan is unique, and they had special interest in the desertic side of it. So it's a little bit as a fixer, what she was saying, Marie, but it's more like a guide or someone who helps the scouting process, in the searching for locations. And on the side, usually when a producer or a director comes, they were doing, in collaboration with the commissions, Jordanian commissions, they were doing workshops for students or people who are interested in film industry there. Yeah. So I was one of the lucky guys who were in contact with this kind of atmosphere. Yeah. And I was finding myself more and more into what does a film do and how it functions and how we do a film and all these questions. Knowing that I am a musician, and I was more into sound, more into exploring what sound, where does sound stand in a movie and in an image, and that's it. Then I arrived to France 2 years ago, and
did you did you know about Kourtrajmé?
When I was preparing to come, I was searching for what can I do if I am in France. What could be done in France, and knowing that I came in a very it was very fast to come. I don't know. I think you might know, but I have a Syrian nationality, so it's not that easy to take decisions in a very relaxed on the couch decisions, and then you do them. For the situation, you have to always adapt yourself, and the coming to France was. Even coming to Marseille was not the idea. I was thinking with my wife to maybe do something in Paris. I don't know, and then something happened and changed, and we came to Marseille. And I was like, okay, I should find something to do in Marseille. I was searching for an internet and so on, and there was always someone telling me, you should meet those people, you should contact those people, you should send them an email, you should say. And it started from there. I waited 6 months to have the workshops at the spot. Yeah, and I just did the application, and they accepted me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And now we're all here together.
Yeah. That's it.
Fantastic. And I want to ask both of you guys this question, but maybe from Marie, the answer might be Laj, but I mean, because you've mentioned him a couple of times, but was there a specific person or a key moment that really helped shape your career? And for example, for Samer as well, for you, was there a specific person that you remember that pointed you out to this direction? Or was it kind of just by accident? Everything just happened as it happened?
I think I met I met a composer, a German composer, once in Jordan, Amman, and he was we did a 3 days workshop, and he was telling me like, you should try to film sound, and I was telling him, my answer was like, why? I could do music for film. He said, yes, but if you do film sound, I think you will like it more because you have a very technical thinking, and being in this realm is a might be helpful, and just it stuck. I let it sink, it sank. I think, yeah, but it was not as pronounced as a yeah. It was just an advice, and I think it was just going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my answer would be Laj, because he discovered things at the same pace as I did, and we did a lot of but I think also many of my roommates when I was studying or starting in NGOs were in the film industries, and they worked as comment on dit les régisseurs? You know, the people in the production who would, the drivers, the lock-offs, you know, all
runners.
Those. Yeah. So how do you say that?
The runners?
Yeah, all the runners. Of course, runners.
Yeah.
Sorry. So they were all runners, starting from the bottom, and so many of my very long-time friends are in the movie industry. They're in the technical teams of movie industry, and I think having always those two words in my life, the world of the social activism, and a lot of people in the making their career as now they're, you know, camera assistants, editors and stuff. Well, it made me understand that, it was possible because many of my friends did it. But so why isn't it working? So I think it's more, I don't think it's one person. Sorry.
It's a combination.
It's a combination and a lot of time of thinking and realizing we could do it. Maybe we should do it. Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, because I really like to ask that question because for me as well, it happened that it was accidental that, you know, that I came into this industry by just kind of somebody saying, hey, have you thought about, you know, go and do this thing or go and film something by yourself and seeing how it goes. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll go try that. And then it kind of just developed into now actively trying to pursue a full-time career. And I like to ask that question because sometimes you need to, like, you can't see it from where you are, but looking back, you can kind of like, oh, actually, there was these like really important people that kind of like helped me get to where I am. And that's why I love that question. And to kind of jump into the foundation and the ethos of the school, the mission, I think, is a quite unique one. And you know, we talked about the inspirations behind the founding of the school, and you talked also a little bit about challenges. I would love to talk more about these challenges from both your position, Marie, and also from a student's position, and you know, or attending these workshops, and how these challenges are replicated in at the school, and how we try and solve them. You know.
I think one of our where to start. So we're basically
a lot of challenges,
mainly challenges. If it had to be done again, I would never. So it gives you the scale of the challenges. I think the one challenge is obviously the film industry, but I think we'll circle back to that after. That is not bound to. I mean, there's nothing mandatory in France that imposes the film industry to change, and the film industry in France is really in a necrosis of whatever. And challenge.
I think it might not only be in France.
I think, but I mean,
you experience it in France, yes.
No, but on top of it, you know, people in the French film industry, they really think they own the world. They are the world. You know, they're so
self-centered.
Ils sont tellement fat. They're so full of thinking like French cinema is is this
the greatest, and the ego
like,
is
Yeah.
yeah.
so I mean it's okay if it's the same everywhere, but maybe you're
Maybe from a historical point of view and how the
yeah
film in France has come up,
they
has led
give
to this ego,
exactly. And but
Yeah.
I mean they're not challenged because they're always self-reproducing, so they can always continue working like business as usual being really problematic and more than
Yeah.
problematic. They can continue their business as usual because French cinema is always seen. I guess it's one of the cinemas that is the most exported. So we have this problem. It's a huge challenge that people continue importing French cinema without challenging it. So that's my first challenge, I think. The second is that we are in this city. And so now the city itself, Marseille, changed
Quite a bit.
politically a lot. So we're not, well, it's better, let's say. I was going to say we're not governed by the mafia anymore. I think in many areas we still are, but not the mayor, which is a big step, you might say.
Yeah.
But the region is still really, really like Trump-like.
Yeah.
So in France, the movie industry and the school, all the adults, how do you say that? Schools for adults.
Yes.
The whole school, once it's not, it's after high school. Those two, in terms of money, infrastructures, and decisions, is in the regions in France. And our region, the Sud, the PACA, Provence, is governed by like-minded people. So we're having a huge issue in funding, but it's also because it's political. And also another challenge that we have in France, and I think it's interesting to have this discussion with you because I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but in France there is a tropism, there is a bias of always creating high education schools. So we call them grandes écoles. So those are they're free, elitists. They're free. You enter with a very complicated concourse, and so the moment that Marseille came in the spotlight, they decided to create one of those schools, which is good because it's free and it's trying to question diversity, but it's a grande école. It's a 3 to 5 years program that is still elitist, that you still have to write a scenario to enter. So it doesn't make sense for me. So that's a French tropism that we have. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
And the challenge is also that the first part, when I was saying the movie industry, I was more thinking of producers and filmmakers and finance and the people who would finance movies.
Yeah.
And now if I think about people who make movies, so the whole teams, they're also not very challenged. They're much more open. They're much more open. There is no comparison between the technical team and the artistic team in France. The technical teams are much more open, but they don't know how, and they don't know how to integrate different people in their teams, and they don't even know how to educate themselves about it, and they're not challenged. So if they don't want to, even if when they want to, they can be really bad at it. But if they don't want to,
they're not obligated.
They're not challenged by society. They're not challenged by their friends, by themselves, by no one. So we struggle just telling people, you should educate yourself or you should obey to what we say. It's one or the other, but we think we're right. So educate yourself and we'll come to the same conclusion. And so you should recruit our students, and you should do a lot of work within your team and within your work processes to understand why you're not including those people if they're not our students. You understand if it's not our students who if they don't recruit our students, they won't recruit people who are not white and in a specific mindset, specific background. So that's the main challenge. So is that if we close the school or if we stop challenging them,
no one will be on set from
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think I mean from a again going to a historical point of view from the from the birth of cinema to now, I mean the barriers of entry for getting into the film industry was already always a very much more elitist place. It was costly, it was very nepotistic. It's still very nepotistic, but it's very much a harder barrier now compared to now, which now we have access to phones and different methods of telling and sharing stories. And now it's where the barriers are low, but that mindset is still so kind of ingrained within this in the industry that is very tough to shift. And we see that everywhere as well, both in the Netherlands, in the types of stories that is being told, and the crews that are working on these films, and if people open their mind just a little bit, they would get access to so much more unique stories and possibilities to things that we wouldn't be repeating the same IP of the same movie happening all over again. We would be opening to so many more interesting films, and I think that is a very big challenge, and I'm sure in France it is one that, because I currently live in Spain and I see the same films coming and going just every year, the same type of films. And I think Spain and France might have a very similar mentality of because Spanish cinema is also on this like pedestal of like being amazing, and the world consumes Spanish cinema every year round. So we have the same challenges here in Spain as well. And Samir, but from your side of view, when you're working on these, because I'm sure you also have to work on film sets, and you're working as a sound and a mixer. What is your experience so far, and how do you see a solution, or how, these are hard questions but important ones.
Yeah, but I think maybe just to make it clear, I worked on different sets and different forms or different types of productions, whether it's a very small crew or a big crew. And I have found myself always, if not the only, maybe the second or the third person on 30 or 40% persons who are on set that were not coming from the same families. We didn't do the educational trajectory. We didn't have the support of our families to do a big cinema school and be to be eligible, to feel the eligibility or legitimacy to be on the set and be comfortable to say like I did that, I do that, I do this. Yeah. So many of those experiences were telling me that okay, you can do the job. This is interesting, that because at the end of the day you do your job, you are fine with it, everyone is happy, and you do deliver the results that are expected from you. But you have always this kind of question that is coming back to you: why we are so little as a team who are representing maybe this diversity of France on the social aspect, I mean. And if you try to look at it from another angle, and you ask maybe some of the people who are working, as just Marie mentioned, the technicians, they don't feel really obligated to dig deeper on it, because they just want their work to be they want themselves to be in their comfort zone. They don't want to go out of their comfort zone, and there's no one from the production, or I don't know, the
funders, the money
who are coming to tell them, okay, guys, take one, I don't know, one or two interns for each set who are coming from other cities, other schools, other methodologies. I don't know what. So you just see it, and you feel that it's heavy. but you have to cope with it at the same time. You have to cope with it. You need to show also that you are capable to do the work, to do the job, to deliver the good results, and to prove yourself that, because here it puts a little, somehow a little bit of pressure that where I come from also they are counting on me, like my colleagues or my maybe my superiors. They are looking forward to hear what have been going on set, and how did it work or didn't work, what went wrong, so we can just maybe adapt or do something to learn how to change things. So it's always you find yourself always on a very uplifting pace of thinking, finding solutions for problems, and being like, for my case, I can tell you that I just arrived. It's only 2 years I'm in France, so the language also is another barrier sometimes. The terminology, all the things. Thanks to the school, you learn all this kind of this kind of terms and codes that should be used on the set. But also, still, you need the social side of it, which is unfortunately representing only one point of view.
Yeah.
But I think in Marseille, I should say that in the school, we are a bit different from the other Kourtrajmé school, because we don't touch the screenwriting, directing, comedians, and production, for two reasons. First is that, well, all that happens in Paris. So all the movies you see that are filmed in Marseille, they're financed. You say financed?
Yeah.
Produced, written, and directed, and also the DOP are from Paris. Most comedians are from Paris. They're not even from Marseille, living in Paris. Huh? They're from Paris, so they don't have the accent. They're not from here. So if we trained people in those in writing, they would have to go live in Paris, and their life would be much harder because they're not even from Paris. And so what we do is that we train all of them. Well, we work with them to make them integrate crews, technical crews. Okay, so there are two objectives there, two results. One is to change the camera crews. So I can give you one example. I think it's not only to show that it's not only writing or filming that's important, is that one of our students, she was in the costume department on a movie, and the main actor was a black man, and they did a blackface on a stunt guy. In 2022, and she's black, and she came and she said, "You're actually doing a blackface. Are we okay? We're doing a blackface." And then she said she was the only black person in the crew, and she said, "The actor's not here, but when he's back, I'm going to tell him you did a blackface, and you're going to blackmail me. I mean, you're going to blacklist me, but I'm not coping with that." So I think the crews also can influence. Well, she didn't go through, right? It didn't go well, but I think the crew also could help.
Yeah, could have helped
the whole because from when something you know that there's a script and then there's the result, and between the script and the result, the whole crew has its say. So in the casting and everything, we train them, and that's why I say I'm an activist. We always talk about the fact, well, you're doing a casting and they didn't tell you that the role is white. Well, you can send anyone you want, and if they tell you, "Oh, we didn't know you'd send people other than white," it's not a problem, but that would be for second characters. You can challenge people. You can tell them it's not okay. You should have told that it's full white casting, So that's one thing. And the second is that we think that if we want to challenge the system, we have to make them make a living on sets, and we hope that a lot of them will be authors, like you'll be a music composer, others will write, others will be DOPs, and like they will have those artistic roles, but they will be good technicians first, and we think it's more realistic, but that's also very challenging for the movie industry and the universities in France, because they all think that you study and then you're a director, which is not what happens.
No, that's definitely not the case, and and it's very interesting to go back to that point which you just mentioned about having to do blackface on a stuntman, and it's very difficult to understand that that you have that there. I'm sure there is black stuntmen in France as well, so there's no need to do that, but yet the mentality is we know it's wrong, but we'll do it anyways because it's easy and it's cheap and it's comfortable, and we'll and nobody will know. But it is very hard to kind of sympathize with that when there's no need to do it, And we have in the Netherlands as well. There's a big problem with blackface as well. But that's, if we go into that, then it will be a whole different conversation. But yeah, I think it's a very challenging one to kind of how to impose something that is not obligated by anybody to do. Have you guys encountered productions or encountered people that have been open to change and have been championing the message? And
we base most of our inclusion. If I say inclusion, okay? Most of our job career opportunities come from first assistants in France, who, when they compose their crew, are trying to, for instance, put more women into the camera, put some women in the lights or machinery, put a man in the costumes or casting. And I mean, so they're at least trying, they most of the time, I think they came to our philosophy from a gender perspective. And they because they said, well, sorry, but first, having a woman in a role is already a fight. So having visible diversity, as we say in France, will be too complicated. But then they're very happy that we help. So yes, they're very happy to. Sometimes they would challenge. Years and years, they would challenge a boss, like a DOP, and they would say, I have this great profile. Oh, yeah, but I don't feel comfortable with that profile because he comes from a borough and he might not be comfortable with expensive cameras. So she's like, so you think he's going to steal cameras? Is that what we're saying? Okay, so I'll be the warrant for that person. No, okay. So she will start, and I'm saying she because most of our volunteers are women.
They're women.
They're first assistants, and it's really, we want to have a tribute to them at some point. First and second assistants that are women that are in their 30 40s, and they already have 10 years in the industry, and they're like, okay, if I don't force them, there's no way out. So they're they're exactly what you're saying. They're championing, and if they weren't there, we could never do it. So yes, Laj will always impose people from the school on his movies, and other directors will, but very few of them have become directors, and even fewer producers. We have so few producers that are even open to that question or representative of what we're saying. That it's first ADs first assistants who help, and it's first assistants in most
departments, yes.
Really most posts. And also I think one section, one area that is championing is TV, because TV is less elitist. It's more lame for the cinema people. So you have people who are less elitist themselves, so they're more open. And also, what's championing for us is that, for instance, that Netflix, Amazon, all those American platforms, they impose quotas. So it's forbidden in France, but still they find ways to impose quotas, and that's when production call us. So they wouldn't say I wouldn't say they champion our philosophy, but they're forced to use our students, because if not, Netflix will not finance.
It's interesting that it takes an outside streaming platform to impose a quota that, and then having to see some level of change because they risk not having the finance. Then it's hard to kind of wrap your head idea that is one of the reasons why they'll want to have a diverse team, but yet if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't bother doing it.
Yeah, compliance in most societal challenges, compliance is always the first level. It's rarely voluntary, extra. So in any, whether it's climate, violence, democracy, whatever, corruption, what works is regulatory. Is constraint to companies. It's what works. So sadly, I'm very sad when I say that it's thanks to Netflix and stuff, because I'm a leftist and I'm into public service, but what helps us is American platforms here. Yeah. Also because American platforms, they're not interested in to a Parisian making a series about Marseille.
Yeah.
So, well, it's still what happens, but they're seeing it and they're like, okay, it doesn't work. We need to change there. But also because they have so much money, they can explore.
They can explore, yeah. And just, I mean, just have one or two other questions that I would love to ask before we wrap up. But I would before we get into those last questions, I wonder if you mentioned that, you know, TV is seen as less elitist. Do you? And this is. I mean, I'm currently seeing a shift in a lot of kind of people moving to TV series now, and like, you know, the elite directors that are like coming off of their movies and now coming into
platforms,
into TV series, because they're like that people, you know, filmmakers that have said for a long time that they would never make TV series, and then all of a sudden now they're making TV series. Do you think that, you know, that the TV scene is also getting hijacked by these other filmmakers?
Is this well, in France it's the case, but it's mostly platform series. It's not TV series. Okay. We have. It's just that in Marseille we have a huge soap, like a national soap. Well, national soap, daily soap that is from Marseille, in Marseille. And so that's what I meant by TV, because sadly we can rarely send them, but we're trying to get them into TV, reality TV, and all those, you know, any
new forms,
but and also sets, you know, but most sets of TV shows. Okay, that's what the word I was looking for. TV shows are all in Paris. All the TV shows are in Paris. So some of our students work on TV shows, but it's still just a little bit. So yes, to answer your question, platform series, they're hijacking. And we're very happy they are, really French cinema is like the last fourth we can enter. It's really complicated.
Yeah. No, I bet. And this is a question that I love asking all of our guests, and I've asked it all the time, and because I have a strong opinion about it. But what is your position on going to film school or not going to film school? And you know, what is your experience of that?
Depends on the film school.
But I might answer shortly. When we say a film school, I think what comes to my mind is reading a book about the history of cinema. That's all. Not more than that.
And making a network.
Yeah, exactly.
Making a network of like-minded.
But I mean, like the theoretical part of it. How does it came to existence, a film, how it is made, how it is fabricated. I think what a school is all about is shrinking all this history of music, of cinema, and doing it within 3 or 4 years or 5 years maybe. And then going out to experiment with your own ideas and with your own films, with the equipment that you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
So this is the classical way, no? This is how we learn on classical, more or less. But how I am learning still, and I would like to learn, is by being in a place to tell a story, doing the thing, and trying with whatever is available is to fabricate this story, and sometimes it just works. Yes, I think the traditional way of teaching that might shortcut a lot of efforts of searching for, I don't know, a certain technique or certain equipment or the use of certain piece of metal, I don't know. But it's not just the only way. A lot of other, and as you just mentioned a while that when you said what the phones did, that they just opened the horizon for anyone to do a movie, and it's real. It's right. There were movies that were done with only an iPhone, and we still do that. From one perspective, that works. The traditional or the classical school exists, and I think it will exist, and it will be a necessity maybe for a lot of people. But it's not the only way to learn about cinema, about film, about how to do music, about how to do a piece of art. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on what your objective is. If the result you're looking for is art, I guess having a culture is interesting.
It is.
But so I don't have an art culture, so I cannot compare. I cannot say. But in France, most schools are about film analysis, even more than history analysis. So it's mostly about writing and how you make them and directing. There are some schools that are technical about sound, image, so they're very good apparently. But from what I understand, most assistants in camera, they all say that they learned as much on set than in the school. I mean the technical crews. And then in France, we have one specific system. I don't know how it is. I don't know if it's understandable, but it's after graduating. So when you're 18, you have schools that are programs that are 2 years in high schools. It's most public. Some of them are private. And you have 2 years, and it's very technical. It's very practical, let's say. So being it private or public, those are very good. And everyone who goes to those schools, they end up finding, like in terms of orientation, curiosity, and practice, and finding really and starting to work, they're very good. But for instance, to give you an example, in our region, there was one that was public. When I say public in French, it means it's state and it's free. So there was one in the whole region. It was in Cannes, and now there's one in Marseille. So I think it really depends on what school and for what results. Because most people who go in the big, like famous French cinema school, they're already in the industry.
Have family members.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're already
in.
So, but I guess they
nepotism.
So if you want alternative art, I'd say no. And we need alternative art, right?
Yeah, it's a question that I get very, very different answers to every time I ask it, because it's a big debate question about, what can you learn at film school, what can you not, the difference of what you learn on set, your objective. It's and most of the times it comes down to something that it's like, not one shoe does not fit all. So it's really a case by case basis. So
yes, but also, can I say something? I think one thing that we all struggle with in all Kourtrajmé schools, so I want to say to students, is that we don't understand. So Samer is one of those exceptions, that we don't understand how to foment, to create curiosity, to encourage curiosity. So my answer is not in school, because if we can't do it, I don't think others can do it, because we really struggle to try and
to provoke
curiosity. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So it clearly doesn't work in other schools. I mean, in all the Kourtrajmé schools, they have the same issue, and we always, with complaint altogether, like why can't we manage to really have curious students? And so and they don't even like show others what they like. You know what I mean? They don't. I mean, I understand that they're not curious in what we want to show, because we're okay. They can consider we're old farts and it's fine, but they're not even showing each other that much, right? I mean, I don't. I think most of them they consume in the term of consumption what we propose, but they're not very curious. And many times we have entries to first to concerts and stuff, and concerts and you know, not only movies but many tickets to social and arts stuff, and we end up like Samer, another student, and the rest of the team, because no students wants to show up.
Wow. So, I wonder why that would be.
So,
you know?
So first, one reason is the you know, what we call in social sciences the legitimate capital. So it's really, you don't feel entitled, legitimate to go to those shows because you think it's not for you. Yeah. So that's something that we're willing to work on. But also there's something in curiosity that's about, I don't know. I don't remember how I was when I was in university, so I don't know what the problem is, but there's a huge problem there that we all feel.
Well, I wonder if there's a question to be asked to the students directly. You know?
Yes.
As like you bringing all the students and asking where is the curiosity, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think now that you mention it, if I look back at, you know, my time at the film school that I went to as well, I struggled to enjoy my time there as well. And now that I look at it, it was very imposed materials, imposed way of thinking, rather than a let's think collectively together on new things or new ways. So I ended up spending more time on set because I was struggling to find these curious moments within the classroom as well, not only from me but also from, you know, it didn't create a space for me to be curious, but I also realized that with the students as well there was a lack of curiosity, and the teachers as well. It was like we were all there together to do something that apparently we love to do, but yet we were just kind of following a traditional way of seeing, thinking, and doing, you know. It's a very curious it's a curious case of curiosity. And do you guys have any advice to your students now, or to any filmmakers who are coming up, that you would say, hey, you know, this is what I would do? Or
I don't do much making, but I know that Laj always say write and film. Film, and go to as many, and that one thing I could say, go to as many sets as you can, even if it's to be a runner.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop analyzing other people's movies.
Yeah.
Like, do yours, or go on movies, but stop analyzing.
Yeah.
On other people's images. Go see other people working. Okay, I have my advice. Stop analyzing images and go see people working.
Yeah. Go do them.
Go do them. No, and also go see. Okay, how is he coaching his actors? Oh, how is she doing her image? Totally. Oh, she's doing the light that way. Oh, that's why. That's how she, as a director, speaks to the DOP. Oh, okay. So that's how she gets insights from the DOP. Okay, so I'd say that, because that's what they say. Yeah. Like we were talking with a student that is in the costume department, and he said, like, okay, I got to do on this set that I was working on, I got to do what I observed last time. Yeah. I got to do the shooting for the promotion. Yeah. And I remembered how she would give confidence to the actors about how I dressed them, so I used the same. And also I remember that I had seen that person do, and I thought, it's not in my temperament, I won't do it that way, but I have to find my way. And I mean, he's 20, it's just about observing how people work. You will define how you work. And really what make good filmmakers or good crew members is people who are like who think about how they work.
Yeah.
You know, and what make good people is people who think about how they do, not only going to work. And I think also the best part of that industry is that you change team members each week
every
or
time.
month.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you can be one person now and another person next year. No one will notice.
Yeah.
So like take advantage of it and go to a lot of sets.
Yeah, yeah. And Samir, you've mentioned, well, Marie mentioned earlier that you had a really good story, and that you should also explore that writing and that other step. Is that something that you are considering?
No, your life. I think I think you should
do an autobiography like.
Yeah, no. But I think if you have when you have an international background, it makes you an interesting writer.
Yeah. Do you see yourself taking that step from music and sound to writing and potentially directing?
I don't. I do not project myself for the moment. I think.
Yeah.
But I'm totally open to do something like that. As I just mentioned, I think if I was not doing sound or music, I would be probably writing something. So I am interested also in the composition of image.
Yeah.
I like how image translates emotions, and it's the basic things, you know.
Yeah.
But it interests me also this kind of relation between the sound and the image, and how it translates from writing to sound to image, or vice versa. So why not at some point? But I don't know if it's not about legitimacy. It's more about having the toolkit, I think, to really if I want to really go into it deeply and come up with something that is well written from my perspective, that can be really translating what I want to say, how I think, how I feel about something or a certain subject.
Yeah.
But
and also we should overrate more other creators on the set, and maybe underrate a little bit underrate the writing. It's interesting, the writing, but you can have very good scripts and really shit movies. So
exactly.
Whoever, exactly. I think we should really take a part of the attention that is actually put on writing, directing, and being a DOP and an actor, and put it on all the 99% of the rest of the people who do the movies. And if you have good, okay, we talk about Hans Zimmer, but there's not only Hans Zimmer, but the way we talk about Hans Zimmer shows that, Dunkirk without Hans Zimmer, it's really not Dunkirk. I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally.
I agree.
And it's not about only creating. It's a lot of different people who make the movie happen. And I think we put too much light on the scenario.
On certain posts or certain.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think, every aspect of filmmaking to make a really good film needs to be looked at the same amount of degree and quality and care than just, and I definitely think that we need to be looking at these. I'm definitely going to be incorporating that into my filmmaking, And this is the last question that I love to ask as well, which is there something that you are currently and actively learning about? Something new, a life skill? It doesn't have to be anything revolved around film or music, but just something that you are currently learning and that you're enjoying learning right now.
Tu l'as?
Oui.
Vas-y, sinon moi j'en ai.
It's not. I don't. It's something that I have been always interested in. It's matter as a physical from a physician point of view. You see, physics, like physics and matter. I am looking at a lot of supernova documentaries and a lot of star behind the star things. It's about a little bit dreamy, but I'm learning a lot of most of the recent compositions I am working on, or or sounds I'm trying to fabricate. Yeah. They come from a question on physics, the universal physics, and I'm trying to incorporate those kind of concepts that I'm learning by those documentaries or these papers of research, etc. On I don't know how can those be used in actual projects. I don't know, but yeah, it's what interests me nowadays. I'm looking at a lot of stars and movements of the planet and the climate change, noticeably what is happening, and because it's really deeply related to that. It's deeply in the thing. Yeah,
and I'm sure that one way or another, you'll be able to connect and find a way to merge them. If that comes to it.
Hopefully.
And what about you, Marie?
Okay, I was thinking our answers are very gendered, because mine is about I was a social activist, so I was very angry. I think anger drove me so many years, and now that I'm a parent for many years now, but still I'm trying to learn to focus my anger somewhere else, maybe only in work, but not in my work teams. In work, like in my
she's not an angry person.
No. In the goal of my work, and I can be angry when I'm with the mayor, not my mayor, with the with institutions and stuff. But I would love, and I'm learning to be more peaceful and patient, and for instance, have the time, like allow myself to take time to watch documentaries that are of interest, but they're not useful, I think being an activist made the whole life being, I need to be useful, I need to do useful things, and I stopped doing like nice things or watching documentaries. For instance, is one thing that each year I'm like, okay, I want to watch documentaries because I want to like the pleasure of learning things about something that won't be useful to my life or society or work, and that's really hard.
Yeah, trying to find that balance and that separation between work and life.
Or useful and pleasure.
Yeah, useful and pleasure.
Useful and pleasure is really a problem. Like at some point, I couldn't even watch movies that were just entertainment, and then I remembered, like, okay, I also love entertainment. I even like reality TV sometimes. I like entertainment because I love music, but I cannot do it. I'm very happy that I enjoy music, so that's pleasure that I feel is useful because it's life. It's a matter of life, but yeah.
Amazing. I love both of the answers to that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very gendered. Very gendered.
And I think there's so many other things that I would have loved to get into today, like the challenges of funding and the power of change that films can have. But I think we'll just have to save those for another day. Hopefully. It was an absolute pleasure talking to both you, Marie, and you, Samer, and a big thanks for joining us today. And if there's anything else that you'd love to add to say goodbye, then please do. And if not, we'll wrap up.
No, I hope we will. Yes, I will. I hope we'll record another one when some students of NPA will come and work with our students here. That's a project that we envisioned, and we're not concreting. It's not concrete yet, but I hope we will. Okay.
For sure. I'm sure that there will be a beautiful collaboration between the two schools.
Yes.
So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Kristen.
Yes.
It was very nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode of NPA Sounds, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more conversations with industry professionals. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so let us know in the comments section who we should invite next. Follow New Producers Academy on Instagram to see what else is happening. Until the next time.